So Lamar Jackson has requested a trade. Heath, if you have Lamar Jackson on a dynasty roster right now, how you feeling about this?
I very, very nervous because I don't really find it likely that the Ravens are going to agree to his demand. This feels a little bit like the Michael Scott "I declare bankruptcy." I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to have his request honored, and so we're going to get into August or September, and it's going to become is he playing?
I declare bankruptcy. That is so funny. Also funnier than anything that's happened on Parks and Rec. And Dan
Not
thinks
at
Parks and
all.
Rec's better than The Office. But
Considerably better show.
No,
same,
I've tried. Yeah, I've watched season 1 3 times. I never made it past season 1, but
You have to go past season
actually
one. That's the Mark Brandanowitz season. You have to start in season 2. Everyone knows that with Parks.
Dan, same question to you. You have Lamar Jackson on a dynasty team. How are you reacting to this news?
I think I'm with Heath. This is not good news. The Ravens have no interest in honoring this trade. He comes out and he says, I want to get traded, but that doesn't really move the needle at all for Baltimore. I don't see how that impacts their side of it. So we're going to see what Heath said, I think. We're going to see this drag into August. But then that's kind of the time where I might be interested in buying on Lamar Jackson in Dynasty because his value, I think, will drop, but it won't really be related to anything other than Baltimore not honoring his request, the trade going nowhere. Because eventually he has to play the season. I don't see him sitting out the season like Le'Veon Bell did or anything like that.
So Lamar Jackson was
removing. You think he might, Heath?
Oh,
I don't know that he's going to. I mean, first off, I don't think that the situation's that great for him right now. They won't. They will not add a wide receiver. They just don't care.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar.
Exactly. Thank you for making my point. Willie Snead, Deshaun Jackson, Demarcus Robinson.
But Rashad Bateman, Marquise Brown, like they have invested in wide receiver. They have.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, when he had Marquise Brown, he was really good.
When he had I wouldn't call that much of investment. Really like looking around the league, can you think of a team that's invested less than that at the wide receiver position? Really,
New York Football Giants.
Besides the Giants, are a great example.
I mean, they tried with Galladay, and
they did try a little bit. They tried with Tony, Galladay, Wandell in round 2. So there's not many of those mid-round picks for the Ravens to really kind of reboost that wide receiver core.
I don't know if I still have these stats, but no team has gotten less production from wide receivers over the last, I think, 4 years than the Baltimore Ravens. That's, a lot of things go into that. They don't throw the ball that much.
Right.
But yeah, they obviously, I don't know. What I was gonna say was that he was the number 5 quarterback per game. If you take out week 13 when he barely played, those kill his averages, but he was the number 5 quarterback in both 4-point and 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. It has been the last 2 years kind of inconsistent production, some huge weeks, and then a number of weeks where fantasy managers are frustrated with Lamar Jackson. But Dan, I think you had some reservations about him to begin with, just with a new system. And this doesn't help. If you're trying to learn a new system, this is not a good thing.
Exactly. That's a big concern for this immediate fantasy season. For Dynasty, I feel like there might be a little bit of a buy low-ish window, but redraft is not. I'm not going to be drafting much of Lamar Jackson this year anyway because of what you just mentioned. I don't like his weapons. I don't like the new system. It could help him, but I'm not sold on that. And now you add in potential missed time during training camp when you're trying to learn that system and get on the same page as your receivers. It's not a good recipe.
At the same time, there's a lot of teams who came out immediately and said, we're not interested in talking to Lamar Jackson. They could have just been lying. Teams do that all the time. They should have been lying if they're trying to win football games. And so maybe he will get traded, and maybe things will look a lot better. He's number 6 for me in both redraft and dynasty right now. If this causes him to fall and he's falling into that QB 8 to 10 range, then I'm going to draft a ton of him because nobody you're going to get there has his upside.
I have a question for you then, Heath. Where do you view if the trade happens and it's to Washington, that's where I was almost going to call them their former team name. So the Commanders, I always mess that one up. So if it's to the Commanders, where do you put him after that for redraft? Because if they can get that team sold within if that timeline moves up, and I'm hearing it's starting to move up and heat up, that's when I think it's possible to make a move for Lamar Jackson because you have to give him that massive contract. Where does he move then for you?
Probably 4. I don't think he's going to go ahead of Hurts, Mahomes, or Allen. But there's nobody. If everything's okay for Lamar Jackson, there's nobody else that I would want to rank ahead of him.
I think at that point he has the best receiver core by far. He's out of his career. Correct. Easily,
Oh
right?
yeah, by
Yep.
far.
Where did you say, Dan?
Washington, the Commanders.
Yeah.
Atlanta's another one that would be fantastic.
Okay,
Be
guys.
great.
All right, listen, I don't know that there's much else to talk about here. We'll keep reacting as we get more news. We'll see what happens. But Lamar Jackson has requested a trade.
I just know if I had Mark Andrews in Dynasty, I would probably be looking to sell just a little bit low on him, especially if I was a rebuilding team and I only had 2 good players and they were both tight ends. I would.
I also have Justin. That team also has Justin Fields. I don't know if he's considered a good player in Dynasty anymore to most people, but to me, I would consider him potentially a good player.
Definitely a good player. I apologize.
I guess we
Might
can
even consider DJ Moore a good player. I don't know.
Would you rather Mark Andrews have Lamar Jackson? We know what the 2 of them can do together, or a more conventional quarterback that's going to throw the ball more.
Say that again.
For
I'm sorry.
Mark Andrews. Would you rather the Ravens keep Lamar Jackson or move on for Mark Andrews' fantasy sake?
It's Lamar for sure for me. They have developed a rapport. Their timing is great, and they have pass production, so we know it's already there with them. Anything else is just a guessing game.
And your mystery box quarterback here, like 90%
gonna
of the
be?
good quarterbacks have been ruled out. So it's like the chances you're getting someone who even throws as well as Lamar Jackson without the rushing are not that great.
Well, you could trade Lamar Jackson for one of the first picks in the draft to a quarterback needy team and then, get in that rookie pool. Could do that.
I would much rather have Lamar Jackson than any quarterback in this draft for Mark Andrews.
Completely agree.